Yo, what up, everyone? We're coming at you here with episode 17. Good to be here. And over here, we're staying cool in all the heat and doing it with some TV shows upcoming. One of them being a doc. Which doc? Which doc?
The doc.
You don't know Doc.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what's up, doc?
What's up, Doc?
I've been, yeah.
Practicing your Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Sorry, wrong universe or wrong IP. It's with Obi-Wan, right? So that's the Disney crew now.
Yeah, they're going to be putting out on September 8th a documentary, behind-the-scenes look at the making of the Obi-Wan series. And,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, curious about how they do, some of the different action scenes. I mean, I'm hoping that it's not all CGI. I mean, I haven't followed anything with it, but CGI or live action or
seem to be balancing the practical effects better these days.
I think that's always something that's been a really special thing with Star Wars, right? So it's cool to honor it in that way, honor the tradition in that way.
Yeah, and there's also a new documentary coming out on Disney Plus about ILM, which is Industrial Light and Magic, the company that produced not only the special effects for everything that's Lucasfilm, but a lot of special effects just in the industry in general.
All right.
And they were responsible for pioneering a lot of techniques, and it looks
cool.
pretty cool.
Some good stuff coming out on Netflix too. Squid Game season 2 was just announced.
Yeah, I heard about that. I
Yeah.
haven't
the
watched
first
the
yet.
original.
I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
Strikes me as like a very
not bad.
Blumhouse takes Hunger Games to the extreme kind of thing.
It is very dystopian, but I think it's really well done, and it's not lost. There's definitely like a good message there, and
Truly, yeah.
the translations
Seems like
might be a little off, but it still has a good message.
Yeah, it sucks when the subs are a little off, but Well, I mean, how do you know? Or do you speak? Is it Korean? I
just heard.
Do you
that.
understand?
No, I've heard reviews that the subtitles are a little off, and that you can kind of tell like some things are lost in translation.
Sure.
So
that'd be a tough gig. Just imagine you're like, yeah, I worked on it, and they're like, man, the subs they're not great.
Like, I didn't work on that one though. I was absent that day.
Yeah, I was absent that day. Sorry, someone subbed for me. So someone subbed me out. I subbed myself out for those subs.
Yeah, regardless, it's a really good show and highly recommend it. It has a really awesome twist that you won't see coming. But yeah, check it out.
So they canceled the Cape Crusader. Like, was that just the Batman?
Yeah. The animated series that was supposed to come to HBO Max.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've already done. They've done so many Batman stuffs. It's like, do they have to do more?
Play it out.
I mean, I'm down, but I mean, it'd be nice for it to be something different, definitely.
Right. Well, I mean, that's I think why it was so hyped is because it was going to be something different, and they shot it down, I guess, or it's going to be lost in translation. They might go to a different company, maybe. I don't know.
It'd be interesting. I mean,
keep tabs on that one.
I guess how would that work with Warner Brothers and it owning Batman and HBO, right? And
right.
Interesting. Yeah, well, definitely a lot of growing pains ever since things with HBO Max and Discovery Plus, right? If I'm not mistaken. Where they split. Yeah. So it's too bad seeing it all like that.
No, they didn't split.
They joined.
Oh, they joined. Excuse me. Hey, but you know what? Thank you for the reminder.
Warner Bros. And Discovery, they joined.
Yeah.
But The Flash is still going forward, though, everybody. Imagine that.
That movie sucks, probably.
Well,
I remember the series too, right?
It's more about the controversy behind the guy who's starring in it. Ezra Miller's a douchebag.
Can't be as bad as the Green Arrow series.
I've heard vaguely, but can you mention it?
He's went off the deep end, and then he got in trouble for basically grooming girls, and it's a whole shady affair. But they haven't made any implications that they're going to do anything about it.
Wow, you're kind of just trying to hope it gets swept under the rug, kind of vibe.
That's what I think they're probably hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been out for a while.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, he's got a history of being
all right,
face. So
fuck that guy. So going to the back to Batman. You said DeVito's and Farrell. DeVito said he's the better Penguin.
Yeah, Danny DeVito came out and took a swing at Colin Farrell, and he said that he was he did a better Penguin.
Well, his like character was more involved. I feel like the Penguin in the new Batman, he's just like a mobster.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
he's-
There's not much room for him to act in there.
Yeah, he serves
know?
as like a small way to sort of propel the plot, but I
Yeah.
feel like he's never a focal point. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's why I thought they were going to give him a series, weren't they?
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, kind
At
of
least I
leaving
had
it,
heard
leaving it for more.
musterings about that.
I
Mm.
mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
This always brings up the classic debate, though. Who was? We'll start off with the less obvious one. Jack Nicholson being the best Joker.
He's definitely not.
The live action.
Yeah, live action. He's really good, but I feel like
Heath Ledger. I mean, I
Heath
love
Ledger
him too.
had way more, to do with it. Like he had more stuff to work.
He was a
with
method
than-
actor. So
yeah,
he
like
really got involved with it.
for Jack, he's like the best, but the
I liked
role
Heath.
was like more cartoony
Yes.
Yeah.
for me. Very cartoony.
A lot more.
which lends more credence
Yeah.
to the comic book
Definitely.
character, I think.
I mean, it
I
depends.
love
no,
Heath.
I
Don't
guess-
get me wrong.
I guess
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I guess throughout time Joker's is a complex character, and I think that throughout his written history, like in comics, different writers have highlighted different parts of him.
Sure.
And
yeah, like Killing Joke and stuff.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think at this point, he's been and done so much. Do you have to do that every time? I feel like that's a lot. It's a lot to ask, and doing it for the sake of doing it. Oh, I got to make Joker do this and do that. Maybe it's. And I see the value in highlighting one part of that personality.
Sure. Or
Right.
exploring something that hasn't been explored before.
Yeah.
I heard the Joker sequel with Joaquin Phoenix might be a musical.
Yeah, I remember we were
crap.
talking about that right in the last.
It really would have been something if you would have been like, no, I think Joaquin Phoenix was the best Joker.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do a terrible job.
No,
It was a
I
different
feel
portrayal.
like Joker.
No,
the
but, yeah.
I mean, nobody can really top Jared Leto as the worst fucking Joker imaginable.
Right.
I mean, holy
Yeah,
spectacular
Holy
crap,
balls.
Batman.
Joker has had an impressive lineup of actors sort of portray him, and then there's Jared Leto.
Right.
But it's very eclectic mix.
Morbius
with-
lives,
yeah,
bitch.
yeah, with with Jared Leto being there, it makes the list even more wild. Batman, I think Batman is also a pretty contentious one.
Always will be.
Michael Keaton, Christian Bale for me are
Christian Bale's for me.
Yeah, I feel like the
Michael Keaton's very good. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Michael Keaton's
I like-
dynamic. I like him.
I think he was great in that. I like Michael Keaton in general. He was also great in Spider-Man, right? He was the
Yeah.
Vulture.
Vulture. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely does the
Also
whether
Beetlejuice.
villain or superhero or Beetlejuicean, he does them very nicely. Catwoman's
well.
been another one, right?
Catwoman.
Yeah. You had Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, she's awesome.
Mhm.
She's great in that.
Halle
Selena
Berry.
Kyle too. I mean, but yeah, who was Halle Berry? That's right.
and
yeah.
then Zoe
Kravitz.
Zoe
yeah.
Kravitz.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, pretty
That's a dynamic bunch too.
contentious bunch. Yeah. Very competitive.
But who will ever be able to top Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze? Though?
Yeah.
Now that is
Or
like-
Jim Carrey as
Riddler.
Riddler. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Paul Dano did a pretty demented.
Riddler.
version of
Actually, yeah.
Riddler.
Actually,
Riddler
yeah.
was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Great version
I
of that.
definitely enjoyed his the most.
Again,
yeah.
those are two different, vastly different portrayals.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like Jack Nicholson versus
Dude,
Jared Leto. You know, who's the greatest? No, I'm just kidding.
and by the way, no one gave love to Rob Pattinson for Batman. I think was
Right,
that
which is
telling?
interesting.
Yeah,
That
but
time-
you've never have you even
Yeah, I
seen
did,
it?
yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
watched it? Did
Yeah.
you
I mean,
like it?
I didn't think his portrayal was that bad. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know what? I was okay with
they
it.
wrote the character well.
But you know what? So my brother made a comment, and I felt like it was a really good point. He said that Pattinson's Bruce felt like he was very much kind of like the same as Batman, like kind of like very
Emo?
emo, grim, apathetic
Sure.
seemingly, and that with Batman and Bruce, there's always been that distinction because you could never tell that Bruce was this vigilante. But this billionaire who's like kind of looks like a, emo, kind of whatever, or a whiny
Emo
dude.
steampunk.
Yeah, emo. Yeah. There you go. What Kramer said. That it's like, oh yeah, of course he's Batman kind of vibe. Yeah.
Going back to Batman villains, I think Cillian Murphy played a good Scarecrow.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. Very
thank
good.
Thank you. Yeah,
and not one that you
totally.
usually see portrayed in, I mean, he was portrayed in the cartoon pretty well. But yeah,
That's some depth.
yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Cillian Murphy
That
and
guy's psycho.
movies and stuff.
He's a psycho-looking person.
Yeah,
He's very, people were like voting him like one of the sexiest men alive,
I think he plays pretty good, like intense, like borderline mentally ill or troubled characters.
He knows how to work the angles with his eyes, I guess.
Yeah.
His eye shape and his I don't know.
A show that comes to mind, which is probably one of my favorite shows, is Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's
6th
dynamic
season
as
just
fuck
came
in
out
that.
on
He's
Netflix.
great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. Yeah, I've always been intrigued, but I just never.
I've always. That's
They've
what
actually-
you always
I know,
say.
dude. It's too much. Yeah, I just have to accept it.
You just have to
know?
accept that you don't have the time for everything.
Or I don't. Yeah, no, I don't prioritize it.
Time
Whatever.
management, man.
Time
You
management.
can get to
I mean,
everything.
That's not possible.
Yes, it
definitely
is.
has
All things are possible through Christ, brother.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders, it's pretty violent, but it also has a really good soundtrack, like great
Yeah.
music.
They film a lot in Eagle Rock and the surrounding area. It's,
Right.
Well, talking about things and stuff that's been around for a while and kind of like coming back. I mean, Peaky Blinders been out for some time, right? And so this new season, it just speaks of the longevity and thinking of that with the news with Britney Spears, right, and Elton John, coming out with the tune and it's doing really well. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Hold Me Closer, which of course is a callback to Tiny Dancer. Elton's
Hold me
hit.
closer one more time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it goes.
Oh,
I don't
no?
think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Close.
so first song in 6 years and it's number 1 in 40 countries,
Oh, wow.
Damn,
which is pretty crazy.
feeling it.
Yeah. And then in other musical news, we got the legendary John Williams is going to be conducting 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl at the beginning of September.
Okay.
And I'll be able to give a report because I'm going to be going.
Nice.
Dope.
I just
John
was-
Williams
Yeah,
and the London
anything with John Williams, anything at the Rose Bowl is gold. So it sounds like
Hollywood
Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, sorry, Rose Bowl.
Damn it,
Hollywood Bowl.
George.
It's all right. It's one of those days.
I
Trust
just
me.
hit up the
It's
Hollywood
one
Bowl
of
for
those
the first
days.
time.
Oh yeah.
Last
First
week.
time, really?
Yeah, it was my
What did
first
you
time there.
think?
It was awesome.
What
Great show.
did you walk around or
Little
for a show or?
Yeah, I saw a couple musical groups.
Ah.
First one, Hiatus Coyote.
Oh,
Really
damn.
great, groovy.
Real fire.
And then the headliner, Flying Lotus.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, with the full orchestra. It
Yeah,
was
wow,
really
dude.
banging. It kind of reminded me of Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Not
Awesome.
gonna lie.
Dang,
So
that's
awesome.
dope. Yeah, I mean, oh, that sounds awesome, man. Yeah,
I
cool.
mean, any show at the Hollywood Bowl is amazing.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, originally, Rose Bowl was dope too. Yeah.
You don't know.
Much love to the bowls and SoCal, of which I confuse.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a lot of good shows coming up, so keep your eyes peeled. It's nice
Yeah.
to see more people are coming out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
going on tour and hitting the circuit. It's
And there's a lot of good shows, a lot of good.
LA does not have a lack of really awesome live venues, indoor and out. So
Yeah, and adding even on to that, right, with the theme park love with Super Nintendo World, I believe.
yeah,
So- Oh,
actually,
Bring that up.
so well, there's been updates that there's been a lot of sites of things going on in Hollywood in our Super Nintendo World, which is the second Nintendo World to be opened. I think the first one is in Japan. But yeah, so they've started to test the animation on the figures and figurines outside of
Like the animatronics.
the buildings. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so you can see like the buildings, like
yeah, it's
Cool.
pretty neat.
I see those cactus guys moving around.
the cactus guys.
Can you make that full screen, Krim?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether or not we are going to be
Nice.
getting all 3 of the main rides that are there. I think we are getting the
Mario Kart.
Mario
Ooh,
Kart
Bowser's
ride
Mario
for sure.
Kart.
Yeah, Bowser's.
Bowser's Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Get it
interesting.
right.
What did I say?
I don't know.
I said, well, Wario's Castle?
Wario's.
No, so
I've been on a roll. I need correcting.
I've been on a roll.
I need correcting.
So yeah, and I believe there is in Japan, they have it's the Mario Kart ride, and then they have like a Yoshi like dark ride almost, and it kind of like
Man,
traverses
you don't
the
know about
facade
the
here.
Yosh.
So you kind of go up and around the building, and then inside a couple show scenes and stuff like that.
Creepy.
I wonder. It looks like we might be getting that too. But what's kind of interesting is they've opened up these little preview shops to hype everybody.
Oh yeah.
So of course the merch has begun flowing.
That hat $40. That shirt $50.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, as much as
those plushies,
they're gonna milk the Super
35.
Nintendo shit, man.
I know, but man, dude, find those the
If
coin
you
blocks.
jump and you hit the block, do you get coins?
Better.
No, man.
You turn into mushroom.
Rip to all the shorties.
What's interesting is in the land, it's interactive, so you get like a wristband, and you can hit the blocks and stuff, and it unlocks coins, and it like gives you gifts and stuff like that.
Love that the Yosh stuff.
I love the Yosh stuff.
And Bowser Jr. too. Nice.
And the Bowser Jr.
Yeah, Peach is dope too. Yeah, I got love Peach.
Dope too.
Got love for Peach.
So this is a preview of things to come for Orlando, because Orlando will also be getting
Epic Universe.
So they will be getting a Nintendo World there at the new theme park, Epic Universe, which is going to be the new resort that Universal's building in Orlando.
Yeah.
Film of it.
Yeah, here we go. There's some nice footage.
Huge.
Yeah, it's going to be ginormous. There's going to be a new resort and hotel system built there. They're going to be getting the third Super Nintendo World, and it's going to be a full Super Nintendo World that has all of the rides there. With it at opening, and it includes, I think, a Donkey Kong minecart.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah,
Donkey Kong.
It has the music from Donkey Kong Country.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going all out. I mean, there's going to be a whole land dedicated to Universal Monsters. There's going to be one for How to Train Your Dragon. And then I believe a new Wizarding World, which is going to be set like in another part of the Harry Potter universe.
Oh, because they're actually coming out with a new Harry Potter game for all the new systems.
Oh,
cool. Makes sense.
Oh, it's like dark or whatever.
Dark,
like dark magic and shit.
Yeah.
Now that is corporate synergy, everybody. So yeah, it looks exciting. There's a lot of
look at that resort. With
just
the
like
pool.
the musicians are hitting the circuit. The theme parks are starting to reopen, and they're starting to reinvest.
Post-pandemic, moving into an endemic.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, life must go on, and I think it's nice when we all do it as best we can.
Right.
So it's going to be imperfect along the way, though. So hey, but it's cool that we're all here now together, and seeing that things are being built. Speaking of, we got a couple things in our good old state, right? Being built. What are some of those? Actually, this canal project.
So they're going to start experimenting with reducing evaporation in some of our canals, and they're going to put solar panels on top, and it will reduce the water waste from this water just sitting in an empty concrete canal that's being baked essentially by the sun.
Some shade.
Yeah, so it's a twofold thing. It keeps the water from being evaporated, and it also generates electricity. So
beautiful,
a win-win.
Awesome,
that's really cool.
A win-win.
When is this something that's already in the works? Or
No,
just
they're experimenting with it now. So they're going to put it into prototyping. Basically, they're going to test it out and see if it works, as theorized, and then hopefully employ it en masse when they realize that it does. This is stuff that they've been talking about doing for years, and now they're actually going to start testing it out.
Even I guess if not yesterday, then no better time than today, right?
Right.
So it's cool to hear about that. I've kind of have become really cynical regarding things of environmental science and sustainability and this and that. I'm just like, man, the powers that be, mainly corporate, they have a really good stronghold on this stuff. Even convincing us that we got to conserve, right? And this and that. And while I if I do my part, I feel good about it. The problem is greater than that. So anyways, hey, but you know what? This is helpful. It's cool. Yeah. It's cool to do that. It's cool to see that that's being addressed. Same thing with the homelessness issue that's really big here in California, as we've talked before. And some encampments are being built, huh? So what are those looking at, and where are they located?
Well, no, they're clearing the encampments actually.
They're clearing them.
Yeah.
Oh, more. Golly.
Yeah. So what's going on is it's been about, I think 1,600 encampments have been cleaned up so far. But what's good about this is that none of these people have not been offered services or a place to go.
Yeah.
We've invested here in California almost 15 billion towards homelessness, and we have, I think it says that we've been providing housing and shelter for more than 67,000 people since the beginning of the pandemic.
Wow.
And we've generated, or are about to generate 55,000 housing units. to combat that issue as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a huge issue, and it's growing.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a huge challenge. Has so many, contributing factors, and but as we talked before, creating a meaningful and affordable, accessible housing, and in places where there's largely single resident zoning that takes place.
Like I saw this meme of like, sorry, of this. It's like a regular. It's like just a middle class house, and it says in the 80s, a shoe salesman could afford to raise his family in this. Like you can't do that shit like now.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Not in LA, especially.
Yeah, actually,
I don't think you can anywhere.
It reminded me of a comparison, like tuition for the UCs in '73 for what this was what I saw in the tweet. 73 versus 22. Medium weekly wage was like $8.90 in '73, and then in 22 average was $8.19, something like that. Even less. Isn't that crazy? And then cost of a home, $30K in '73. Now average is 22 is $433K, and like that. And then what was the other big one? Oh, cost of tuition at a UC. It was like in the hundreds. And then for now, it's like around $13K, something like that. So
even Costa LA is getting expensive, and that school was literally made for like low income people to be able to go to college affordably.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's just a reflection again. Yeah, and we've said that, right? Hey, people that otherwise were, had a place to live and had some sort of stability with their living situation, now it's in jeopardy. So really insane.
Yeah.
So that's not good that there's a heat wave coming then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to fuck us up here in SoCal, man. We got a triple-digit heat wave coming for Labor Day weekend. So make sure you're hydrating and hit the shade as often as possible and the AC, but not between the hours of,
Yeah.
Conserve your energy, but it's going to be really hot, so stay in the AC all day, everybody.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's like a rock in a hard place.
Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of rock in a hard place, looks like the good old orange man himself, Sir Trump, the tanned man himself, former president, right? Getting hit up by the FBI in according to some illegal raid.
Yeah, let's listen to this real quick.
Yeah.
And when they raided Mar-a-Lago, God didn't like that, Steve.
So
that
how
didn't
did
set
he know,
well
though?
in heaven. It didn't set well at all.
Trying to go for
when
Jesus'
they did
look.
that.
White Jesus' look,
the scripture says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm.
That's a bold assumption.
Well, they touched his anointing when they did that.
Very bold. Very bold.
Yeah. Because Trump is David. He's David. He began to be David when
this is where like I can't
how do they draw this line?
Who made this guy the messenger?
Yeah,
he began.
Just listen to me like, yep.
Fell off and rolled away or something.
It sure did. It sure did. And see, Obama would love to be the Antichrist.
All right. Forget
he
this.
He would love to be
Southern
the
draw is a
anointed.
must.
Yeah, of course. Reminds me back home.
Listen to the rest.
Reminds me back home.
And this will
Got
be
the gist.
I mean, this feels like
it
feels like Billy Ray Cyrus like went down a cocaine like depression binge, and now he's coming out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, that's harsh. Boy. Yeah. Well, regardless of his background, I'm curious as to what within it makes him qualified to speak like that.
Speak on that in those ways.
Yeah. Very ballsy. But for the most part, I mean, it looks like the FBI's been on point with crossing their T's, dotting their I's, right?
Doing it by the book.
Doing whatever. The P's and Q's or something like that. P's and Q's and T's and R's and S's.
P's and Q's and T's and R's and
P's and R's. Say in the alphabet, folks. Sorry, I'm forgetting that too. Sorry, I had to run it by real quick. But yeah, I mean, dude, we'll see, man. Trump is able to just always find a way to wiggle himself out of shit, honestly. He's a slippery snake, man. And but this is looking like something really meaningful, will come out of it. I guess we'll see. Everything right now that FBI is doing a damage control of sorts, right? Trying to figure out what's been compromised, what data's been compromised to whom, and so
who's seen what?
Yeah, who's seen what? That's really crazy. It's really intense that they're really unearthing just so much to it. So, but that's good. Moving in the right direction and
moving in the right direction.
for people that were so big to toe the thin blue line and and stuff. They real quick started turning
currently
on their
residing
own.
in the Where Are They Now file.
Yeah.
No backbone.
Exactly. And maybe I brought it up last time, but there was someone running for mayor or something and saying like, hey, I'll authorize that you can shoot any FBI or public workers, and it's like, dude, that's wild. Like saying that out and saying that anywhere, right? Yeah. But I mean, especially so brazenly, it's just what the hell's happened, man.
So much for back in the blue.
Yep. I mean, yeah, the backbone is everyone's like, man, making eels look real good out here. You know what I'm saying?
Slick.
You don't know about slick eels.
Well, I know that slick old Mitch is definitely worried about all this. That's for damn sure, right?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, our guys kind of suck, and they're a little too bad even for the bats,
Yeah, he's being very, very dismissive of the Trump candidates, and he's expressing dismay at the prospects for the Senate.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it started off looking like the Democrats were going to lose their asses hard, and Dark Brandon's kind of been on the up and up here.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, he's been really going to work, and the Senate's been able to, they realize it's like, hey, when we don't try to compromise with these peeps, we actually do stuff that looks good, feels good, seems very agreeable stuff that's
look
been
good,
getting
play
passed.
good, feel good.
Look good, play good, feel
stuff
good.
That works.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel very happy. The big one being student loan debt for a lot of people, right?
yeah.
10K, unless you received a Pell Grant, I believe up to 20K.
20K.
And of course, if your loan amount's less than that, it just covers the loan. You don't get money beyond that.
Oh, I know.
But
I think it's much needed. But I can understand arguments on both sides that people are paying. Are paying taxes that for people that have more opportunities than them. And the people that are paying the taxes may actually be in a less socioeconomic position.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that it starts really, I guess, giving.
I think it's needed, of course.
It is needed, and I think that when those same people aren't being critical of our discretionary spending, our discretionary spending with military budget and tax cuts,
corporate welfare,
corporate. It's just. I just for me it's just is it really based on the practice, on the ideology or
right? There's definitely a lack of consistency on their argument.
Yeah,
because I think that the wealthiest are the biggest welfare queens. So it's
sure.
Why aren't they being criticized?
Well, and also it's kind of interesting too because that's where also the extreme on the both sides it's not enough or it's too much. My whole thing is I don't think debt forgiveness is disproportionately affecting people who are wealthy, but it does affect them, and I don't think that people who can afford to pay off their debt should have their shit forgiven.
And which is why that interesting caveat of those individuals making under $125K a year, right?
Right.
They are able to receive the forgiveness. I think couples $250K and below
right.
Is what qualifies. So I mean, when people speak, I mean, that's an interesting point that it is for those that are really in need of it. But yeah, I mean, then for the people, again, what I was trying to say is for the people who are like, well, I paid off my loans or I didn't get any loans because I knew I couldn't afford it. I mean,
it's a very Obamacare-esque argument. Remember this because we subsidized Obamacare by having healthier, younger people
pitch into
have their coverage mandated, essentially pitch into the system. Right.
Yeah.
And, there comes a time where you go, okay, well, yeah, we should all kind of pitch in and be responsible for each other a little bit, at least.
I think understanding the value that removing that amount of debt from people serves not only to individual communities and I'm sure that impacts generationally, right? I mean, generational wealth is such a huge thing, and not that debt can get passed on, but if you have parents that are having to accommodate huge amounts of debt with with predatory interest rates like that. I mean, that impacts all the household and their quality of life.
Likely that they buy a house and pass that on to their kids.
And you know, having more of your money to be able to save and stuff, that's supportive to the economy, right? And having people just even be okay going for education, right? That's not so much of a fear, right? The financial responsibility that it comes with. So,
well, and also that kind of brings to light too the fact that we've also leaned on the higher education really hardcore, not enough on vocational, you know, and more on the
trades and such. Right?
Having kids think that by the time they get to junior high, they got to be thinking about the 6 years they want to spend in college and what they're going to study.
Yeah,
you know, and then you do that, and it's like, what are you studying? You know, you're going to be a doctor or like what? You know,
I think life skills need to be taught in high school. Yeah, definitely like managing your finances and just trades, being able to fix things.
Meaningful financial literacy, right?
Yeah, and we don't do enough of that anymore. But that translates to college, where there's a lot of, well, I don't know if you chose to study liberal arts for 8 years, if that's paying off, that's great, but then you should be able to afford your debt. If not, then what the hell did you go into debt for, studying Renaissance art for that long, or studying the history of rock lyrics or whatever the fuck?
Or television, film, and media.
Because that's one thing that other countries don't really entertain as much as we do. Is it's cool to have the extracurricular shit, but we don't lean nearly enough on the talents and the trades that we need to really own the future economically.
But you know what? I feel that in some ways, that type of maybe work doesn't exist. I mean, in some contexts, I think there's oversaturation with certain fields, especially creative fields, and I guess, I ultimately, if people aren't wanting to check out your art, I mean, I guess that's really hard feedback to receive, and there's a brutality in it. But also, let's say someone's studying Renaissance art, why, couldn't there be more, investment in education and museums and like these public institutions that sort of maybe would.
But there just isn't that many. That's the thing. It's like with sports where there's not. Yeah, those jobs, they're cool and stuff, like being the librarian at it, or like directing a museum or something. But there's just not that many jobs
could you possibly have with that, though?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, there's not that
Even
many.
if you were to invest that, how you can't have more people studying that kind of stuff and not be losing out in the end, because you have, what happens when the issues with Taiwan come to pass and there's nobody making superconductors or chips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We couldn't possibly do that. We don't even have a fucking machine that can do that, because we haven't even been thinking that maybe we might need to do that. There's all sorts of stuff that we could be doing. Let's just kind of raise the bar in terms of what we expect. We have to be a finely tuned machine if we want an economy that actually lasts into the future and have a working population that can do work and not just be shit out of luck and can't do a lot of these jobs we have. Just people need to be trained for.
And now rapidly growing countries like China and India are putting out more highly educated people than the United States.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And they entertain far less of that stuff. I mean, it's probably because they're commies, but...
Only by name. They're actually capitalists that reports to the state, as opposed to us, which is the state that reports to capitalism.
Hey.
That's why they get shit done very efficiently. They're brutal and heartless, but they get shit done.
Yeah.
But hey, results.
Not always.
I mean, talk about leveling up within China, right? And there is also with them a heat wave that they're currently experiencing, right? Where it's like never before.
The quote was the most extreme heat event in world history.
Yeah,
which is going to be hitting them hardcore, and it's already affecting them. Yeah, you want to talk about supply chain issues, dude? That's going to be brutal.
Oh my god, dang!
I heard the Yangtze River is like lower than it's ever been.
Well, yeah, I mean, you hear that all over, right? Right, like even stories of like old sunken Nazi warships, like now being revealed because the water level is just so low, right? Dang.
See, if you like climate change, you're a Nazi.
Yeah. Oh, dang! I see what you did there. Well,
I didn't do it. The Nazis did.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Now they just got to discover like Indiana Jones' body next to it, and it'll all be full circle.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got sunk. You know what? Yeah.
Right.
So good job, guys. Keep on getting sunk. And with that being said, friends, there's always things happening, and it's just crazy to keep up with it. And sometimes, again, I feel a little doom and gloom after hearing some of the news, but I think that's important to have conversations and
hey, we're still here, right?
And we're still here, and you know what? Enjoy each other and create love as much as possible and respect one another, because you know what? Time here is precious. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day, evening. We will see you very soon.
Bye.
Later.
Peace and love, everybody.